This is the Columbia River. Kind of life in the Tri-Cities, and in Richland, we call it the Tri-Cities because Richland, Kennewick, Pasco, they're all basically one city. Life kind of revolves around the river. If you go up this river about 20 miles, you're gonna run into a B reactor, which was kind of the impetus for this whole project, and was the world's first, as I mentioned before, the world's first nuclear production reactor. But the river's just great. My family's a boating family. We grew up water skiing and tubing, just going out on the boat on weekends. You know, I kind of grew up in this river, to be honest with you. And you know, after high school, I do marching band, or after football practice, we'd run down here on lunch breaks or jump in the river off the dock. You know, it's great. It's one of the largest rivers in North America. I think it's 5th by volume or length. I don't know how they measure rivers nowadays. There's a bunch of tumbleweeds in it right now, which is kind of funny. There was a big windstorm a couple nights ago, and just tumbleweeds everywhere. And apparently, there were so many tumbleweeds in one part they actually blocked the highway. They also, at that reactor, they pulled water out of this river to cool the reactor. So when you have a nuclear reaction, predictably it makes a lot of heat. And if that heat can't escape, you get a situation like what you had at Fukushima or at Chernobyl, where there's a bunch of steam that gets created and it creates a pressure explosion in the reactor. Obviously you don't want that. Obviously, that has not happened here because we're still here. You run water through that reactor at an insane rate. That reactor is huge. You stand next to it and you feel tiny, but there's water running through the pipes, and it's something like, I don't know, half a mile of piping in there or something, and it spends like less than a second in the reactor. It's insane how much water they need to cool it. That doesn't actually pollute the river. One of the big problems that they face out there right now, what's called the Hanford site, is they have all this nuclear waste. When you create plutonium, you also get a bunch of nuclear waste, a bunch of radioactive stuff that you obviously can't eat. It's not good for you. And so they're trying to figure out how to contain it until it decays so much that it's no longer a threat to human life. But obviously, that reactor is pretty close to the river. So it's a big challenge to try to find a material that can contain this stuff safely, that it won't just get eaten through or erode over time, and figure out how to prevent it from getting in the river water. So far, so good. There's been a couple times when it didn't go so well. It's funny. Usually the truth is somewhere between what some of the bigger newspapers that aren't around here will tell you and what some of the the locals will tell you. But it's a big problem, and it affects the community life here. Super weird to think that there's stuff that will kill you if you stand too close to it, and it's just down the road.